communication.
something we can discuss when we get there. Hey, Dana, when this meeting's over, I'd like to have a meeting with the subcommittee.
Okay, today,
I mean, it'll take like 2 minutes,
okay,
or we could do it.
She's got
We got 3 minutes now. We'll do that.
okay, I
It'll
don't
take
have
2
to,
minutes.
okay.
Sorry.
Today,
It'll take like
Hold on,
2 minutes.
Deja vu.
Get you up on the screen here. And there you go. All right, it is 4 o'clock, and so we will call this meeting to order. Did everyone have a chance to review the minute of last month? Any comments or adjustments?
Yeah, we can't email that, it has to be put forward here and then the motion is made if you think that's.
I had it said, in the minutes, it says that it disliked the, pre-event planning meeting. I didn't mean to come across that way. I was fine with that, it's just worried about, any type of verbal type of transactions, how they come across later on, so that was my issue. As I brought up. I amended.
Okay, so you'd like to have them strike that you
Yeah.
dislike the
Such a strong word.
pre-meeting. Okay. Any other comments or adjustments? All right, someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes with that one edit?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as read.
And,
Second,
all right,
Okay, who was the second?
all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Meeting minutes from last month are approved. Okay, do we have any, I don't see visitors' comments on here. Do we have any visitors' comments? Nobody have mine? Okay. So then, Scaboo's Water Bay, or Scaboo's Bay Watershed. Oh, yes, thank you. Before we get going too, I would like to introduce our new commissioner. If you'd like to say hello.
Hello, my name is Lacey Tolles. I've been a resident of Columbia County for 20 years, worked for the port, currently worked at St. Helens School District for 21 years. St. Helens Sports Booster President, and I have 2 children at the high school and 2 stepchildren, 1 in college and 1 at the high school. Any questions?
Awesome. Welcome to the commission. Okay, now we can move on. Rochelle?
Hi, I'm Rochelle. I'm with the Scaboo Bay Watershed Council, and I just wanted to briefly speak about some of the work that we do with the IGA or in the parks. And we did have in September, we did have a work party at Nob Hill with the Friends of Nob Hill Nature Park. And then we also are going to be moving forward working with the city of St. Helens to do some invasive surveys throughout the park so that they can look to combat that mercury TMDL. We also stay in communication and like to be of use with invasive weed combating and getting native plants out into the community in other ways, as well as we took part in the mercury TMDL park cleanup at McCormick Park as well last month, and continue to just be a resource for the city of St. Helens in the watershed.
So. Like in a park, would you guys be willing to work on invasive plants that are not close to the watershed, or are you just working in certain parks?
So we are open to working within the watershed, which does go through the middle of St. Helens, but we're also willing to work outside of that, as the council has chatted about like helping at Dalton Lake and other areas, but it really is just up to what people would like help with. So we just stay open. We're willing to work outside of the watershed boundaries if that's what others like us to do.
The reason I ask that goes when Emily, are you in the same position that Emily was in?
No, I'm the council coordinator. Emily was more of like our nursery manager and just a resource person.
Because we haven't been real active on the botanical gardens, but you know, there is still quite a few invasive plants down.
Yeah, we're gonna be surveying that park. And we are definitely willing to help combat them as well.
So one of the things she said about the poison oak, we've tried to kill the poison oak next to the trail, but there's huge clumps of it down there. And I'm for what Emily said, leaving it there, the ones that cover the trees. But she says it's good habitat for wildlife to hide in, and the birds and other wildlife can eat the seeds.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's some poison oak that's next to the trails that I would like to see go, because you know, and then there's poison ivy and a few but a lot of poison ivy. Not poison ivy, I mean ivy, just ivy.
Okay.
But you're gonna do a survey of that, and will you come back and tell us the results of that survey?
We definitely can.
We did also have the city do spraying for us in Nob Hill recently for poison oak.
If we can definitely help. The best ways to combat poison oak are with time sprayings during specific times of the year. We might be a little past that window, but we can definitely look at a spring spray for next to the trails at the botanical gardens.
What do you do for the
Yeah,
ivy?
we,
Get a group of people and hold it out.
Yes, it depends on manually pulling it. It can be treated as well with some chemical forms. And if it's on trees, like really cutting it and letting it die down is the best way to.
Cut it off the trees if
Okay.
it's on the ground. Okay, yeah,
the other important thing with poison oak to remember is if you spray it early in the spring, you can have a lot of collateral damage on native plants that are coming up. So we found that usually the best time is in the fall, just before it starts to turn red.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that the process, that you know the process when you start this IGA. Are you working closely with Buck Tupper?
I am, yes.
Okay, good. And do you have any reports from the previous years? Because we haven't got any reports. And in previous years, it hasn't even been brought to the commission. So Buck Tupper is at our commission meetings. So when you want to do an IGA or you want to amend something, you know, you'd come to the parks because we're all assigned to a park. Sometimes two parks. And so we've got needs that we identify and then we bring that to the city council every year. So I just want to make sure you know the process. So you'd go to Buck and say, do you need any spraying done at this park or this park? Or, you know, and he'll be able to tell you.
Yes.
And because we go to him also with any concerns or any invasives that might need to be sprayed. We do have some certified people to be spraying now under Public Works.
Absolutely. Everything we do goes through Buck.
Okay, good. Yeah, good. I'm glad you know that. Because Parks and Recreation split as of January 1st this year. So we have a recreation department, and then we have Parks and Trails Commission. And so we're assigned, you might want to read our municipal codes and what we're responsible for too.
As they're saying, I think it'd be nice to know the budget, just so if we have like 3,000, I believe that's the monetary sum. If we have, you know, almost to the end of the year and we've only spent 1,500, we might have other things that we could rush in and.
Yep, I report the budget and the status of the budget directly to Buck.
And can you tell us more about capital improvement project? That's number 7 on item number 1 of the agreement. The capital, it says assisting with capital improvement program, capital improvement project.
I believe that refers to some of the things like the TMDLs that the city gets assigned. To improve on things in the waterways. I don't have the IGA in front of me. I should have brought that. I apologize. We're working closely with the city in order to continue to move forward on things with the Mercury TMDLs, keeping garbage and out of the streams, plantings, and keeping sedimentation or erosional problems in check. That's part of the TMDL. So
And you work with the
yes, directly in the city.
and with Sharon.
Yes.
Okay, good, okay.
What a good deal.
Maximum daily load.
Mhm.
And will you be meeting with us at any specific interval throughout the year, just to kind of keep us up to date on what you guys are working on?
I definitely can, and that's part of what I wanted to ask. I can come, you know, a few times a year. What would you like to see as far as the watershed council's involvement for reporting or bringing kind of what we're doing to you guys?
Well, I think that with how much you guys do and how closely we work together and and really the benefit that you guys bring to the parks here. I don't know if quarterly would be too frequent for you guys, just to kind of touch base, as the seasons change and what's coming up and what the plans are. Things
Could
that-
it not just be put in an email to us on a monthly basis? I mean, such as, you're having this survey at the Botanic Gardens, do you need?
I can definitely update you with that. I think having a monthly email for such a small budgeted amount would be a little bit more time consuming than it'd be beneficial for you.
Yeah, okay, with with the survey that you're doing at the Botanic Gardens, is that part of the IGA?
It is, yes.
And do you have any past project reports that you've given on the annual basis?
I can check our records, because I started with the Watershed Council in January. So I'm just getting things back on track and going. I know we've had quite a bit of turnover, so I will check our records and then go through and just see what we've done, and I can come up with like a report of some of the past things that have happened before my time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be great. Be sure and send that to
Yeah.
Buck. Yeah. And then he can in turn send that to us. Also number 3 and item number 1, it says providing access to properties as needed. So what properties are you talking about?
There are other properties that the city owns that are along some of the streamways within the watershed within the watershed. And so if we're looking at projects or potential grant opportunities, the city typically allows us to access those other city-owned properties that are on those waterways to be able to give recommendations or to be able to look at stream restoration or habitat improvement with grants.
So how do we get a hold of you?
Would you like my phone number or email?
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone number is 503 298 6996.
Email?
Coordinator at Scappoose Bay.
Is it SBWC or?
No, it's Scappoose,
Written out.
Scappoose Bay. And then dash WC.
Dash what?
WC. watershedcouncil.org.
Want to thank you for your participation and your willingness to come and speak with us today, and all the hard work that you guys do, really such a benefit to our community.
Okay, and I noticed in here on number 1 in the description of services, it says these properties were identified by the Parks and Recreation Coordinator. So we don't have, it would have to be Buck Tupper for parks,
Yes.
and because that's separated.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for us or any needs from us at this time?
I don't believe so. Just wanted to make sure I answered any questions and meet you guys, establish some communication.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And it seems like you have Howard on board. He is on our board, Joe. But
Yep.
we're kind of directly getting out there and getting started on some of these things. So
We
Fantastic.
should introduce ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
nice
Dina, I'm the chair currently.
to meet you, Dana.
Thank you.
I'm Lynn Pettit and I'm vice chair this year.
Jerry Belcher, and I was on the Scappoose Bay watershed for about 12 years.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm Scott Dickerson.
Nice to meet you, Scott. Again,
Brian Long.
nice to meet you.
Lacey Tools.
And I met you at the fort.
And Greg Pettit's on your board.
Yes, yes.
Good emails from you.
So,
And Howard Blumenthal from out there.
that would be great. And just, bring to us, like I said, a little report on like what you guys are doing, what you have planned, things that you moved out with, things that you would recommend. Especially if there's something that we should bring to council, because we would be that voice then directly to city council.
So I know we were talking about. Rochelle, right?
Yeah.
That's Rochelle coming. I don't think there was ever a decision made. I prefer for her to come in person, and I would say maybe just twice a year to start out with and see how that goes.
But she said quarterly is okay.
Yeah.
Quarterly.
Yeah.
Better.
Full time a year.
And I have no
Safer.
problem coming in.
I did, we just did.
Okay, I was thinking that. I'm right.
I have no problem coming quarterly and I have no problem coming in person.
Oh,
In
fantastic.
person's great.
Yeah,
My office is 10 minutes from here. I'm fine.
So much.
Yeah, thank you. And it's nice to meet you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, does anyone else have anything for Rochelle? No, okay, if not, we'll send you off with a thank you very much.
Yeah.
Again, you're
Coming in.
very important help here in our parks, and we appreciate it so much, everything the watershed does.
Thank you. We're here to help. All right, you guys have a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you. Okay. The only other thing I'd like to move on to then is to try to get through the rest of this permit review. And a lot of it's really just kind of going through the documents of the permitting from here on out. So we left off last time on the document that said waiver of park fees for nonprofit organizations. That's where we will start off today. So all of you guys have a copy of.
yeah, I think come on that.
Stand up on my. All right. Yeah. Yeah, we've gone through quite a bit of it at this point.
Oh, so this is it. Okay.
Moving forward, and what we're doing with this is just kind of a deep review of the permitting for events and special use permits for our parks. So say anybody wanted to utilize any portion of our parks for any type of event, this includes large birthday parties or business get-togethers or really anything that would require a special use permit. It goes to Melissa and she reviews them. And there's a huge process that goes into it. And what we've been doing each month is getting as far as we can through this permit and just taking notes on things maybe that we have questions about or maybe that we need to be updated. Just getting clarification on them. And then once we're done reviewing, I think we'd like to make recommendations on it, to edit it and update it. Okay. All right, so picking up at the waiver of park fees for nonprofit organizations. That looks fine for me. Do you guys have any questions or comments on that? No? Okay. These are really straightforward. So the next page is the liabilities checklist for volunteers. And so Melissa, if you could clarify for me, is this something that the applicant? What, can you just clarify really what this
So
is?
all of those waivers were actually given to us by the insurance company.
Okay,
So we haven't touched them at all. We just included them in the
packet. Okay, and so this is just, so this is filled out by the applicant with their best knowledge of volunteers that are going to be working the events? Okay. Perfect. Do you guys have any questions on any of this? All right, so this.
So the person who fills this out is the one who makes the decision on if they're qualified or not qualified.
It's the applicant. And you said this comes directly from the insurance company?
Right. And it used to be just on the website and. You know, you can search for them.
Okay, awesome. This next, I don't have any questions on that first page. This next page, it says the special events liabilities for parades. And I made a note on here that it was listed as 2 million elsewhere. That very top one where it talks about a minimum limits for the certificate, and it says it's 1 million per occurrence. The sponsoring organization provides city with a certificate of insurance, naming city is insured with minimum limits of 1 million per coverage. Is it 1 or 2?
I think it's just, whatever it says on the insurance one is the correct one. Again, the one, all the liability mechanisms just came from the insurance.
Okay.
Our insurance company. But the one that is about insurance is.
Okay, so if it is 2 million, that's probably one of those that I would like to have updated, just to make sure that they're congruent. That way it's not 2 million.
Be a verbiage issue.
Yeah, yeah. And then as far as the only other line I had a question on this one is a cooling tent available for persons who have had overexposure to the sun or heat? This is not anything that I have seen us do before. Is this something that we?
So we only time that would probably apply would be something like maybe Hood to Coast or something, and we don't. Or like Seattle, Portland, and their entire route is not through our city,
Okay,
so we haven't had to.
we can force that.
Okay.
Okay. Okie dokie, or what about, like the 4th of July parade or something like that? Do they?
Too short.
Is it too short? Okay, do we have limitations on like what would be, like a length definition for when that would be required?
Not this time, we haven't come across that. That's
Okay.
something that would be brought up during the pre-event.
That pre-event meeting? Okay, cool. You guys have any other questions on this page?
We usually have our safety coordinator at that as well, so anytime it's gonna be on a day or on a time period where the heat is gonna be like really high, but we haven't run across that yet.
Okay, great. Like if there was a random fluke heat wave or something during that
There
night.
is an event that was, yeah, but we haven't. Like that.
Okay, cool. All right. And then. My only notes here at the bottom of that on the next page was just, I think I mentioned it before, was just consider requiring like movable barriers to ensure a safe parade traffic flow in areas that are congested by high volume of attendance. And this is in regards to our, the parades that come down these tighter business district areas where there's limited space. And again, this year with the big Halloween parade where there's so many small children and people who kind of bottleneck the parade route and get in front of the moving vehicles.
Yeah,
This
I
is
see
a-
them going walking. During the parade walk.
Yeah.
The vehicles and all that.
It's not as much of an issue that I've seen personally up, like say uptown area where the streets are a lot wider, right? It's 2 lanes that they're using through the whole area. People stick a little bit closer to the sidewalks up there, but as they get through some of the skinnier areas here in town, especially towards the downtown where Columbia swings around into First Street, it just gets so tight and the kids are right there in the parade route. So is that something that we consider adding into, to ensure the safety of people who
We
are.
want fencing along the entire parade route to keep kids out of the street.
Not the entire route, like I said, I know that during the pre-event meetings, they talk about safety and whatnot, but it's just an observation that I've had the last couple of years that I've been taking note is that children and adults alike impede the flow of traffic and get right up to where the vehicles are passing, to grab candy. And so considering in the areas that are tighter and higher volume of people, considering requesting to have a barrier there to ensure lane of traffic for the vehicles where kids can't get quite close enough to the vehicle. Does that make sense?
Are you mainly talking about the Halloween parade? Because I know the 4th of July parade, CERT is there and they don't allow anybody to come through at all, no cars, no people crossing that path. And so they're all along the parade route to make
Okay.
sure, and we've got the stop signs, we've got the barricades.
Yeah. I haven't seen the issue personally with the 4th of July parade, but I have seen the issue personally with the big Halloween parade. Right? And so that's why I was just wondering if that was something that we could consider. Just taking a couple notes, sorry. Okay, so the next page is the liabilities checklist for marathons, walkathons, and bicycle events. Do you guys have any questions or comments on that?
Street.
Mhm. Right, now the next page is just a list of our park amenities. We should all be fairly familiar with. It's a nice little review and it's just for the these 4 parks in particular. And would you say that these are the 4 parks that get requested most often for a special use permit? Absolutely. Okay. Then, so here we have a street closure traffic control plan.
That is just a. Without, that's not.
Okay, so this is an example, is this something that you would say, show to them during that pre-event meeting or?
No, that would be more if they had issues with, they had a maybe. Issue and they weren't like a business, they were just a citizen and they weren't sure what they needed.
Okay.
I had someone who would do like a block party.
Oh, fun.
Like that, and so I had engineering kind of make me one up so I could send it to him.
Okay. Then moving forward is the special use permits. And then, okay,
When it is approved, so that would then go over top of the entire approval of all the signatures, so that's what we see.
okay, great. And here on the bottom of that last page. CC, are these all the people that then get emailed and copies of this, so everyone's aware? Okay, fantastic. All right, do you guys have any questions on any of that? You made it to the end.
3 months.
So I have made a few notes throughout, and, since we started this process, and so we have enough time now, I suppose we can talk about them, but I'd like to wait until I'd really like to wait until everybody else is back before we have our final discussion and make recommendations to city council.
Could it be
And so-
possible to, your list to email that?
Yeah, I'll write them up and send it over to Melissa, if that's okay, between now and our next meeting, so that we can review them as a whole, make our final suggestions to any updates or edits or to council at our next meeting. And that's going to be in December, right? We don't have a November meeting?
No, we changed that. We can have a November.
Oh, we do have a November
Yeah.
meeting. Okay,
November, and December.
On the city website, it says we're having a November meeting. I'm gonna ask that question
That was
myself.
changed, yeah.
Okay, great.
Here.
perfect. All right, so then I
We do
will.
have a November. Do we have a November meeting now? Then I didn't quite catch that.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Okay, so then I will write up my comments and recommendations from notes that I've taken from our discussions, and then we'll make final decisions on those at our next meeting. Thank you guys for your patience in getting through that. I know it was a lot and it took us a while, but I think it's appropriate to, to take the time and be aware and get a lot of questions out, so. Done with that. We don't have Buck for a staff report today. Did he happen to give any notes or anything about that? Nope. Okay, counselor's report.
All right, just a few things here I wanted to make you aware of. There's been a little bit of a hiccup with the expansion at Columbia View Park. So I'm not sure where that's gonna go or what's gonna happen yet, but the bids came back about $2 million more than was budgeted or expected, so they're reevaluating and see, we'll split it up into phases or what's gonna happen there. So I think from what I last heard, the Riverwalk portion of the park expansion will take priority as it was closer to
Yay.
what was expected, so, but sure Jenny will let us know when they have more news to report on that. I've also been working with Jenny on kind of a fun little project, which is the potential replacement of the Warrior Rock Lighthouse replica just outside of the park. Just as you go down to the docks. So that was put in, I believe, 92 or 93. Supposed to be a replica of the original Warrior Rock Lighthouse on Sauvie Island. And the museum has recently obtained some of the original plans and photographs of the building, and what we have here just really doesn't reflect what it should have looked like and what it could look like. So Jenny's working on getting a grant to fund that project, and I think it would be a great addition to the downtown area. So she's working on the grant application now. When I hear more about that, I will let you know. Another development is the Veterans Memorial expansion at McCormick Park. That is going on. Forms have been poured for the pedestals that are going in place that'll have the flagpoles with them. So if you haven't been down there lately, go take a look. It's just to the right of the memorial wall. So it'll be a great addition. I think we are on schedule to be ready by November 11th, which is when the Veterans Day celebration will be held there. So as long as the weather cooperates a little bit. I'm going to talk with Buck to see if we can maybe do a little work to spruce up the Japanese Gardens area again, and then that area directly behind this new expansion. I think there'll be a lot of eyes on that area for the memorial program, so it would be nice if it looked good. So I'll talk to Buck and see if we can coordinate something there. And then this goes back to something you brought up a long time ago, Jerry, and that's the potential renaming of the botanical gardens. Just wanted to mention that again, so it doesn't get forgotten, but I know just recently with the museum, I've been doing a lot of research on the quarries in St. Helens. And that was such an important industry at one time to the community. And there is a very neat quarry site right in the botanical gardens. So I'd love to show you some of the research I've been doing, and if that's something you still want to pursue, we can.
Maybe you could, when you give your presentation on the history of that, maybe you could suggest a couple names that you think are appropriate.
Yeah, I'll get some stuff together and bring to this group, and I've been wanting to get down there again and get some recent photographs, but I haven't made it yet, so. Should have done it the last few days when it was so nice. But,
Don't know when that'll be
you
again.
know, I'm here to stay. But I think that's all I've got. Is there anything good for you guys? Scott?
I was wondering how many bids were put out for the phase one?
I don't know. I know at least two came back, and both of those were about the same. I think pretty close, but both about the same amount over budget. So Jenny would know better than I would, but find out. Thank you guys for all you do.
Thank you so much. Okay, any discussion items?
I do. We were gonna have Gloria come, our budget director, and talk about how we can put that money on a special line. I know of a treasurer that has done work for many nonprofits and other organizations and businesses. And basically what she said when I was telling her the situation, she says all they have to do is put a line item under parks. This would go for the commission needs for the parks. So they could call it whatever they wanted, but that way, that $1,000 can stay there and not be used for other things.
Okay,
And
yeah,
that would go through back.
I'd really like to have Gloria come and meet with us. I knew there was a few people out this meeting, and so I'd like her to come and chat. And so maybe that's something that we can do for our next meeting, is invite Gloria. Yeah. I understand. So I will put that in my notes, and highlight it to make sure that I request that we please invite her to the next meeting. So for November, and that way we can clarify our funding and the accounts and avenues for money usage.
Yeah, for our parks
Mhm.
that we can suggest. One of them I got during the last month was getting a new sign for the BMX track. That was going.
Okay,
Yeah, so, and I've got, well, I'll just update you on Dalton. Somebody went up there to the overlook and the cement pad that the nice bench is
Yeah.
on. Somebody spray painted all over. And then on the kiosk down close to the main kiosk at the north end. Somebody has taken off another sign and burned graffiti in the side of the wood. And so I quickly got something else to put up there, but it's paper. They can rip it off if they want, but I need some more signs because the overlook had two signs that denoted that, one, it was private property when you started, and then where the Dalton Lake Nature Preserve started. And they both were ripped off. So there's nothing that tells the campers, you know, what that is. In fact, we came upon one on a weekend. He was busy taking out branches and bushes and this and that. And I says, I tried to find out what he was doing. And he says, well, I'm trying to take some of this ivy off and some of this other stuff. And I said, oh, I says, are you part of staff from the city or? And he says, I says, this is private property. And he goes, this is private property. And I says, yeah, and I says, I'm from Parks and Trails Commission. He just almost froze. And we walked on to the overlook to take a look. There's a lot of garbage there too, so. But he disappeared. He disappeared after that, left all the stuff in the trail, you know, so we took it off the trail, but. So there's stuff going on. We've got two campers there. And one has really kind of set up their home there. I mean, they got flowers, they've cut a lot of the shrubbery. Again, that's on private property, but we still can't allow that,
Right.
so.
Anyway, since it is private property, do the property owners, are they involved or aware, or do they do?
I let them know a couple of years ago when I went to try and get them to donate
Yeah,
the property. But, and they were pretty upset to know that campers had been on there, but they didn't even remember their property because this person has property all over the United States, and Europe, so,
okay.
you know, he wasn't.
So maybe that's
Anyway,
something that we could bring up to them again too, knowing that, you know, that the park kind of surrounds that jet of their private property, but that it's becoming a nuisance. So then, okay, what would be our role or ability to, in this particular case, we have park property. Well, it's not really city park, right? Right.
Yeah,
But private property that kind of,
you have to cross that first to get to the overlook.
right. So it's city on one side, kind of that trail, and with ODOT,
Mhm.
right? On either side with private property in between, is that it then?
No, St. Helens owns a property on the, it would be
The
the
trail.
west side of the Rutherford Parkway.
Yeah.
So, but the private property is on the side where you go into that trail to the overlook.
Right.
And it's 5.8 acres.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so there's where the two trails diverge. Starting at that tree is the preserve. But then again, further on down, you know, towards Madrone Court,
Yeah,
it again is private property, so. It's gotta be delineated, you know, so
Yeah.
with signs, we have to, you know, they take the whole post.
right.
And so it's a problem, but the city of St. Helens cooperative management agreement, I think, ends in 2029.
Okay.
So unless they annex or buy the property, it's going back to ODOT.
Okay,
And it'll still remain a wetland, but nobody will be taking care of it,
okay.
except for volunteers that may want to continue to do that, which would be me.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the situation, so
But
even,
in regards to like the campers and whatnot, then there,
I
like,
called, there's a certain sergeant at
Okay.
the St. Helens Police Department. That's part of the cooperative management agreement that they will go ahead and patrol that area.
okay,
And so I need to send another email letting them know that there's 2 more campers there and there's one that's keeps coming back,
yeah.
so.
Think they have
Thank you.
the new legislation that they enacted, it's a 24-hour. Yeah, they can only go 24 hours, where they have to be checked out if it's on private land.
Well, they're building fires too.
This is public land on private land, if it's camping like that on somebody's property. You know, usually you have the property owner's permission,
Right.
but even then you only have 10 days. So, or 10 or 14 days.
Well-
before you can't do it even with the property owner's permission.
If a fire started there, it'd be devastating and
Yeah.
they both had fire pits.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that-
fire on the ground, and one of them had a whole box load of firewood,
it's
so.
a tinderbox back
It
there. especially at the end.
hit Great Cliffs, it hit, you know. Anyway. So, and that's the update that I have on the discussion.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that very much.
Frustrating.
And so I forgot to add on to, just for as discussion items, I forgot to add on to this week's agenda to have a park update for the Columbia View Park by Scott. And Heine Human Park by Scott. So October was your month. Would you you want to give a quick little verbiage, or do you want to be put on for next month?
Put me on for next-
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna add you on as.
And I'll be done.
And I have a couple of things when it's my turn.
Go ahead.
Okay, mainly just, we've got our upcoming work party for Nob Hill Nature Park, November the 4th. And we're just going to be kind of doing the typical things that we usually do, mulching some, trying to get rid of some vinca, maybe a little gravel, some plants to be planted. And we're doing that between 1 and 3 o'clock, meeting down by the sewage treatment plant. And then also I just wanted to mention about the native plant sale this weekend with the Scappoose Bay Watershed Council on Saturday behind the high school from 9 until 2, that there's a really good native plant sale this weekend. So that's about all I have to say. Sorry I didn't get in at the very beginning of the meeting.
Oh, that's all right, thank you. Okay, are there any other discussion items?
I actually have a couple things for you guys.
Yes.
One is that I was given the updated contact information for everyone.
Thank you so much.
And we actually had someone email, they want to do a birthday party on the BMX track. I haven't got that request before. I can accommodate that. Paul emailed, say he wasn't able to come to this meeting, so I checked with him first to make sure he wasn't having any type of event.
Okay,
The days that they requested in the year, and so I'd run it by you guys just to make sure. I don't know that there's really much as far as Christmas tables over there. I didn't see all of that. I think it's a little boys like. So if you guys are cool with it, I'll go ahead and arrange that.
I don't see why not. All right, well, there are no other discussion items. We can adjourn early.
No,
No.
no.
Stay till 6
A
o'clock.
short meeting.
Yes, they do.
I know, way. Well, then we can chat about the
Brian likes to do not get the impression that.
subcommittee meeting. Yeah, and then I won't have to just run. Okay. We can adjourn, yeah.
Anyone can sit in on this meeting too. I don't know if that's legal, but
Well, how many makes a quorum now? We can only have. We're a subcommittee, we don't have to worry about that, isn't that correct? We can't invite everybody else. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. All right, let me run to the restroom while they all.
okay, good.